It's time once again for Face-to-Face, the global version. Hello everyone, I'm Bill Apter, and let's go right to England. Hit that button again. My co-host, the man I cannot do without, Sir Lynskey. Welcome back.
Oh, what a great week we've had, Bill.
Yeah,
Lovely.
Yeah.
The weather's warmed up over here.
Yeah,
Lovely.
It's warm here in the United States too. Here in Philadelphia, it's been like unbelievably warm. I've been able to take my dog for like 2-hour walks. So
Wow.
no, it's been really, really good.
You had the gym vest on and the shorts and the...
Yeah. What have you got on there? What? Let's see that.
I have a Finley t-shirt on there.
Yes. Now, you, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say that we are impartial on this show. The reason that Sir Lynskey is wearing this shirt is because
I got it for free.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. He was given the shirt for free. So if you'd like to send Sir Lynskey a shirt to wear right here on Face to Face, when you see him at a wrestling show, give him something to wear, a hat, any kind of whatever, and Sir Lynskey,
Okay.
as long as it's free.
Yeah.
He'll go. He's also up for free meals too, correct?
Yes, free salad. I love
Free
that.
salad, yes.
Yeah.
So I want to start off this week with mentioning the challenge that the Maximo Brothers have thrown out to Jody Fleisch and Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
Johnny Storm
Johnny
Johnny Storm said, bring him on. I called the Maximos about 1 hour before we started taping here, and Joel Maximo said, we're not coming on this week. We have some things going on regarding Fleisch and Storm that we will mention on the next show. They're not ready to talk about it yet.
Wow.
It
A little
has.
bit cagey.
What's that?
A little bit cagey.
Yeah, but it has on both sides of the pond here. It's reached a hot boiling point, and I can't wait to actually see these two teams against each other. I think they just have to dot the I's and cross the T's.
And do you know what, Bill? Maybe when Jody and Johnny have gone out to America and beat them, maybe someone would bring the SATs over to the UK or Europe.
Well, first they got to beat them. They're pretty evenly matched teams. I saw that first match they had in Philadelphia, and it was really incredible. Really incredible.
They are very evenly matched, but it's if you throw a challenge out to somebody, you go in with that little bit more cockiness, a little bit more edge. But if you've been thrown out a challenge, and to do it on a show like this as well, where loads of people are watching it.
Oh yes, all over the world.
That's going to stick in your head.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think whoever throws out a challenge to someone else, they're going to be more ready. In my opinion,
All
they're
right,
going to be more ready because the people.
Let's move on to another trending topic here. Do you want to see John Laurinaitis and Teddy Long in a match at WrestleMania? Do you think we're going toward that?
I think Johnny Ace in his day was was good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Teddy Long was a hell of a referee.
Yeah, he was. And manager.
And as personalities, they're good.
Yeah.
Do we want to see him wrestle?
I think it would be fun, actually.
Okay, yeah. I think you have to have your little bit of fun breakdown.
You
got to
have your fun match in there somewhere.
So yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, the fever for WrestleMania is growing, and I also want to mention to everyone out there that I will be hosting Wrestle Reunion in Miami at the Deauville Hotel WrestleMania weekend. So go to WrestleReunion.com. You got to be there. It's going to be absolutely incredible. I mean, boy, what a Sir Lynskey, I wish we could fly you into Miami for that weekend.
I would love to be there, but April the 1st here in England.
Oh, that's where I was going. You read my mind.
Yeah, of course. You throw it and I'll hit it out of the park. April the 1st, WrestleMania day,
Yes.
or rather WrestleMania afternoon in London, Brit Restfest. Basically, what this is, it's going to be a charity show for Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital, and it's where a lot of UK promotions are banding together.
That's cool.
And each promotion is going to put on a match, and then Brit Wrestling is going to come together for one day and raise some dosh, some cash for Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital, which is a great charity.
Who's behind
all
this?
The best thing about it? Well, who's behind it? Alex Shane.
Alex Shane, yeah.
Alex Shane.
That's great.
Wait for this. And the best thing about this?
Yeah.
It's free. You want a ticket?
The best.
You want a ticket? It's free.
The best 4-letter word in the entire world. Free.
It's free, yeah.
Yeah, wow. So how do fans find out about this?
Okay, yeah. Well, basically, it's April the 1st. That's the date. It's at the Coronet Theatre, which is at Elephant and Castle in London.
There's an Elephant and Castle, by the way, in Philadelphia. It's a restaurant.
Really?
Yeah, you can find me there doing karaoke on a lot of Saturday nights. But anyway, getting back to this.
3:30 in the afternoon, the show starts. For tickets and information, go to www.wrestlingwithethics.com.
That's great. And I'm wondering if it might be a possibility to get Alex Shane on sometime. Before that, we would love to invite Alex to come on and give us information and talk about some of the matches that will be taking place. What a charitable thing to do. So all you fans in the UK, and hopefully they'll be filming a DVD that the rest of us around the world can see, and perhaps.
I really hope so, because I myself will be refereeing that show.
Yes.
Or, be one of the referees for that show.
So what's the name of the website again?
Is www.wrestlingwithethics.com.
Okay, wrestlingwithethics.com. All right, so we're going to talk about, we're going to move on a bit. Last week you promised us an appearance here from Nigel McGuinness, and he's not behind you. I know that.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
But what I'm going to do right now, I did get a text on my good old cell phone here that Nigel is waiting for us right now. And I wish we could put all three of us on, but unfortunately this
no three-way action, Bill?
Yeah, no three-way action. My wife, I'm at work. It's okay. But no three-way action this way, because the equipment that we're using right now can only support two faces at the same
two
time.
good-looking faces.
Yeah, and two pretty faces at the same time. Happy 70th birthday, Muhammad Ali, one of my heroes. But anyway, and I've got that equipment loaded on my computer. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go right now and transport to Florida, where Nigel McGuinness is currently living, Tampa, Florida, and speak with him and find out what it is about this injury or why he retired, and some questions that fans Twittered and Facebooked and emailed to us. So, Lynskey, thank you personally for setting this up, and let's travel to Tampa right now and welcome Nigel McGuinness. Okay, well, we've traveled courtesy of you, Sir Lynskey, to Tampa, Florida, to the current home of Nigel McGuinness. Welcome to OneWrestling.com Face-to-Face.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Bill. Nice to be here.
We're
be here
glad
nice.
Now, I understand one of the reasons that Sir Lynskey said it's important to have you on is that you have a blockbuster announcement to make, but you kind of told me just as we were going on that blockbuster announcement's got to wait until our next show.
Yeah, it's. I'm just not ready to thrust it on the public eye just yet, but it's something I've been working on for a while. Very excited about it, and I just wanted to come on here and let you know that it's coming. It's in the works, and as soon as it's ready to go, you'll be the first to know.
Well, you got a lot of fans out there. who admire you, and whatever this is, I'm glad you're going to announce it right here on OneWrestling.com's Face-to-Face, courtesy, of course, of Sir Lynskey. How long have you known Sir Lynskey?
Well, I don't know what this Sir Lynskey's all about.
I gave him the title.
Sir Lynskey. I don't know about that. He's a bit of a hell and hunt, if you ask me. But
just has a ring
right.
to it.
Whenever I hear his name, he makes me smile for some reason. He's one of the people, Sir Lynskey or not, that you really enjoy meeting in around wrestling. You know what I mean? A lot of times people, me included, are very, very cynical, very sort of, oh God, really trudging through the dirt. He loves it. He loves every second of it, and he's an inspiration in that regard. Just
he's always he's a character, and I love characters. But you just brought up something while we have you on here. We have some questions from some fans and people in the business that sent us some questions on Twitter and Facebook. But you mentioned that people in this business, and I know hundreds and hundreds of them through the years I've been doing this, that become cynical in the business. And I know you, and I know you're positive, and I also know there's a cynical side too. What makes someone who's such a great wrestler like you and has such a legion of fans become cynical?
It's difficult, I think, because your expectations going in. I just finished my retirement tour at the end of December, and I kind of asked myself that question a lot going through and seeing a lot of the younger guys in wrestling that I actually wrestled, and seeing the love that they still have for the wrestling that to a certain extent I lost, and sort of trying to find an answer to that question. And I'm not really sure. I think after a while you want to keep improving, and after a while it stops. You stop to lose. I remember the first day I got in the wrestling ring, and and I felt the turnbuckles, and I felt
which was what, 1997
98 when I first started training, and just that excitement. I mean, I was arguably more excited about that day than when I won the Ring of Honor World Championship or something like that. And I know that sounds crazy.
Really?
What happens is because there's that magic and there's that mystique of professional wrestling that as a fan is all encompassing. But once you start getting involved, you lose a certain part of that, and that's why I think it's important to try and remember where you came from. And I'm obviously not afraid of doing that. But I think to a certain extent as well, Bill, it's a question of money, It's a question of like, ultimately we do this to make a living, and we know we can't do it forever. And ultimately you want to be able to make enough money such that you don't have to get a job in Target or Walmart when you finish wrestling.
Yeah. Although they do have some pretty good jobs. I have friends who work for both Target and Walmart. But
is that right?
Is it similar to someone who wants to be in another field, that wants to be a teacher or something like that? Would you compare it with the same thing? And they have that eye of the tiger, and then like 15 years later, it's like, oh man, the politics of this and the pay and
I don't think anybody gets involved in an industry and feels as eager-eyed about it once they've been in it for a while. Without a doubt, there's always something that keeps you in it, whatever it is you choose to do. It's kind of, a lot of times I've said it's kind of like an abusive girlfriend or boyfriend.
Ooh.
Like, you remember what it used to be like. You remember the love you used to feel.
The romance days.
Well, yeah, you just keep holding on, hoping that one day it will feel the same, when ultimately, arguably, perhaps, it never will. I don't know, there were moments on the tour talking to people when fans came up to me, and some of the other younger wrestlers came up to me and said really nice things that touch me every day on the internet. People will, find me and say really, really nice things, and sometimes there's a disconnect in my head, and I have to try and rationalize the creative and artistic side of what we do, and also the financial side of what we do. Because sometimes
interesting, very, very interesting. Now, you mentioned the retirement tour. One promoter in particular, Pro Wrestling Syndicate, had reached out earlier today when they heard we were doing this Face-to-Face, and he said, is the retirement tour over, or are you still accepting retirement tour bookings?
No, it's one and done. I basically started putting it together September, October for sort of November and December, and contacted everybody I could, put it out there. That's what I was doing, and got all the bookings together and said, right, this is what I'm going to be doing anymore, and I'm done, and that's it. And I had people interested in end of January, February, March, even May, and I'm like, I'm not going to stretch this out. For me, I've always been someone, Bill, that like, I mean, you know me. I don't like doing it half-assed. I don't like showing up not in good shape. I don't like not being able to go out there and having the sort of matches that I feel you need to be able to have. I'm very proud of being a professional wrestler. I'll put it up there with any other form of artistic endeavor and say how difficult it is to do. And that being the case, I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself or embarrass the sport which I've devoted so much to. So that being the case, I took all the ones that I could do, gave it my all, gave it my 100%, and that's it. And then I'm done. It's again, to use an analogy, it's a lot like a really, really attractive girl that you chase for all these years, and after a while, if she stops, giving you attention, you've got to walk away. Otherwise, you look like a putt.
All of us guys have all been there. So you're not going to be one of these guys now, at least what we're saying here in March of 2012, who says, that's it, I'm quit. And then, a year or two down the line, well, my thoughts have changed.
Never say never in any endeavor. That rhymes. But
you have a career in poetry.
Right, that's it. The truth is, I've put a lot of things on the back burner for wrestling, and if someone was to come to me with the right opportunity, then I'd be a fool to turn down. Well, then I wouldn't turn it down. But when I decided to do this retirement tour, it was because I believed that those opportunities weren't forthcoming and weren't going to be forthcoming. Okay. So there are things in the wrestling business I haven't done as a wrestler, and things that I wanted to do, and will perhaps always feel a certain sense of disappointment that I didn't do. Were the opportunity to come around to do those things, then I'd do them.
What's one of those things?
Well, wrestle for WWE. I mean, I think when anybody is a wrestling fan, as we all were when we started, certainly of my generation, that was what we considered a professional wrestler. There wasn't a lot of independent wrestling around that time, so that was it. That was when we said we were going to be a professional wrestler, we meant Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior.
Sure. Hold on a minute.
There he is, Hulk Hogan.
No, actually, it's Sir Lynskey. No, we're on the line right now, Sir Lynskey. Yes, and he did mention you. Okay. Yes, he wanted to know why. Sir, we'll get back. We'll come back to you. Don't worry about it. Thank you. Okay. So, the WWE, just continuing on that, why didn't it happen? What was the...
to be honest with you, Bill, just shut this window here in a second. Yeah, to be honest with you, I think we can save that.
That's a great shot of your shoulder there, by the way, but go ahead.
But we'll save that for next time I come on here.
That's fine. When will you make that big announcement? I'll tell you what. I mentioned to you that there are some of the fans and people in the business tweeted some questions here.
Nice.
So let's get to the paperwork here. Tony Mack from Atlanta, Georgia, said, what are the details of the injury that prevents you, Nigel, from wrestling anymore? You're such a great talent. We miss your ring work.
That's very nice. I appreciate that. And as I said, that's one of hundreds of people who've asked me the same question. And the truth is, there is nothing.
Yeah.
There's no injury that stops me from wrestling. It's my choice not to wrestle. I mean, if there was an injury that stopped me from wrestling, I wouldn't have done a retirement tour.
Okay. So pure and simple. That's, you just don't have that eye of the tiger for the business right now.
I mean, as I said, if you're not on your way up, you're on your way down, and that's it. I felt like I'd done everything I could do with the opportunities that were presented to me, and that's it, really.
Okay. I mean, we'll take that. Scott Finkelstein, one of the best photographers in the world.
Scott.
Yes. Scott says, first of all, give Nigel my regards. He's got 3 questions. Maybe you can give some answers here. He says, does Nigel blamed Ring of Honor culture, fans, reputation for the multitude of injuries you sustained while world champion.
He got most of the pictures of them as well.
He certainly does. And you can see them in Fighting Spirit magazine, actually.
There you go. There's some plugs for you. No, I don't blame anyone else other than me. It's the environment that I broke into. That was the wrestling business that I broke into. When I was trying to make a name for myself, the only way to make a name for myself in America was to wrestle for Ring of Honor, arguably, because at the time WWE wanted guys that looked a certain way. They weren't really interested in guys that didn't have that look. This was back, when was this? 2001, 2002. That was when we were talking about, and sure. TNA obviously at the time were only really interested in guys that had wrestled for WWE, and so that's the only option that was open up to me. I was very lucky to get a shot in Japan, and without Japan, I think I never would have carried on wrestling, because that was the way I was able to pay my bills. So I always feel very grateful for the experience, not just financially, but also, from an artistic standpoint, to go to Japan. But in terms of blaming anybody, that's just like it or lump it. And that was the only choice that we had, whether it was me, Dragon, Joe, whoever it was. I think we all knew going in that was it. I think to a certain extent we kind of emulated a lot of what we saw in Japan, Kenta Kobashi.
Which is great, and the fans here absolutely love that. Precisely.
The difference is, of course, that, those guys over there are making the sort of money that, they can retire on, whereas in Ring of Honor we certainly weren't. But you've got to drive the horse and cart you've been given.
Yeah, and you got to get that worldwide TV to be part of that big money picture as well.
It's very difficult. It's a crazy proposition. And when I was doing this retirement tour, a lot of times people would ask me about getting further in the business and all that sort of stuff. And sometimes it was difficult to sort of understand what my impact had been. I don't blame anybody. Sometimes I feel a certain sense of guilt.
Okay.
And are people repeating me now? Are people now going out there and causing themselves immense damage because they think that's what they got to do to make it? Because business has changed considerably, in the last 5-10 years.
Absolutely. It changes every day, every week. So, all right, let's go to Scott's second question of 3. How did fans turning against Nigel after the doctor wouldn't clear him for the show in New York City weigh on him personally? Did it bother you at all?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. A lot of times, people talk about what pro wrestling is and what pro wrestling isn't. The word fake is obviously used a lot of times, but there were a few occasions in my career where it wasn't fake at all. Well, most of the time it wasn't fake, but there were occasions where it was as real as anything in the outside world. Yeah, and that night in particular, me and Aries went out there. We did we had about 25-30 minute match, and I had about 27 stitches in my face, a concussion. I didn't get out of hospital till 5 o'clock in the morning, and the fans had seen that the night before. So I stumbled in to the Manhattan Center the next day, kind of, a little bit groggy, and then Gabe saw me and knew straight away there's no way I could wrestle. So I went out there the next night and said, can't wrestle, sorry. And about half the people really vehemently turned on me. And it wasn't that sort of Pavlov's dog reaction that you get a lot in wrestling, where you cheer the good guy and you boo the bad guy. It was legitimate. It was people genuinely believing that I shouldn't be the champion anymore, and I should drop the belt and give it to somebody else that can go out there and kill
They were really PO'd.
And that pissed me off, because I'd given, and have given a lot of myself to entertain those fans. And it's not just that, I'm not this selfless guy and woe me, I did this because this was my dream and I believed in it, and I wanted to prove that if you have a dream, you can achieve it, But at the same time,
what do you say to those fans who are watching us right now?
Well, they're not really fans, and I don't think they probably are watching us right now. I think that, to be honest with you, they're probably watching, America's craziest car crashes or whatever it is, because they're not wrestling fans, the fans that hated me that night and really, were very vocal about it, there was just as many fans who were behind me, who understood very much so. And I got a lot of emails and a lot of people contact me to say they understood completely and they were totally behind me, taking off as much time as they wanted to make it keep felt, and that's...
Those are the fans.
As I said, it was very, very, very emotional. Arguably one of the most emotional things, that happened.
Scott's final question. TNA, did you accomplish what you set out to do in that company?
No. I did not.
Okay.
There's a long... We certainly can't fit that in 5 weeks.
All right, well, we'll get that on another face-to-face, but we were all very glad to see you on their TV. It was great because you were exposed to all those thousands and thousands and thousands of people that could see you on Spike TV. So one other question now here. Now this one is totally anonymous. Some geek from the United Kingdom wouldn't put his name down. He said, "Dear Mr. Apter, sir, could you please ask Nigel why he broke Sir Lynskey's nose on 2 occasions in the United Kingdom, first Ring of Honor in Liverpool, and then second in the King of Europe?" And he says, "I'd rather not sign my name."
Yeah? Interesting. Yeah, why? No, I don't know.
Did you break Sir Lynskey's nose twice?
No, he seems to think I did,
He
but
does.
I think we actually we watched it back, one of the incidents on replay after the DVD came out, and I didn't even touch his nose. So fill in the dots. You'll have to ask Sir Lynskey about that.
I think you and I could agree, though, from before and after pictures, it made him better looking, didn't it?
Yeah, well, you can't get much worse. Mate. Yeah.
So, the nose break, 2 times maybe by him, but we both agreed, as you heard, that you look better after that. We saw pictures before and after. So that's the story, Sir Lynskey. Thanks for getting him on here. It was a very insightful interview, and want to thank the... well, wait a minute. Do you think you look better after having the nose broken allegedly twice by Nigel?
Look at this.
Look at that. You're like one of those punch-drunk fighters. With the finger up there.
No.
But anyway, what an insightful interview with Nigel. Now we know the real reason why he went on that farewell tour. And he'll be back next week to make a bombshell announcement, he said.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, you predicted...
You know what? Speaking of bombshell announcements, 4FW last week, I said to you that there was going to be some big news coming out of 4FW from their Swindon show last Saturday. The Great Sasuke will be coming to the UK in October for 4FW, and that is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak.
The Great Sasuke.
An announcement, the Great Sasuke,
yeah.
back in the UK. The last time he was in the UK was for Michinoku Pro Wrestling,
right,
back in '96.
Long time
Someone
ago.
tell me if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's '96.
In your opinion, what makes him such a hot commodity still in the business? He's been around a long time.
Yeah, he has, but he still watches matches and they still hold up to this day. And also, he's it's been such a long time since he's been in the UK.
Yeah,
that people want to see him.
A true legend. Have you refereed any of his matches?
No, I have not. But and I have to say this to David Sharp, who was really quick on getting back to me after messages were going back and forth. Thank you for that, David, regarding last Saturday, getting back to me as quick as he did.
And who is he?
David Sharp is a promoter of 4FW.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And a wrestler too. Like I say, he's very obliging. I sent a message and it was like so fast. He just got back to me.
Well, he knows the power of face-to-face.
This is isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've sort of maybe dropped to slight hint about maybe refereeing on a future show.
Okay, well,
the October.
The hint is in there. Now, speaking about hinting, you came to us and turned Nigel McGuinness in here as a guest. Well, we have found that our correspondent in Scotland is on the scene right now with another special guest here, face-to-face, and it might be in the headline here, I'm not sure yet, but I want to go right to Scotland right now and surprise you, Sir Lynskey, with who we've got. All right? We're off to Bonnie, Scotland.
All right, my boy, you get up there. Hey.
That's pretty good accent.
Right, so Chris Duke here reporting for Bill Apter at OneWrestling.com. I'm here with Mick Foley in Glasgow. Mick, welcome to Glasgow.
Right here in Glasgow, Scotland.
So what brings you here then?
The World Comedy Tour, or at least 5 countries in the World Comedy Tour. We're doing a reality show that asks the question, can one man do 10 shows in 11 days in 5 countries with just one carry-on bag? And I think the answer is yes, he can. That man is the hardcore legend.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Glasgow wasn't originally on your tour list.
Right.
So what made you decide to come back?
It was an uproar. There was so much interest from the Scottish fans that Chris Brooker, the promoter, was saying, we've got to add a Scottish show. And I was like, all right, can we do it? We had to do it in the beginning. So we added the extra day. I came in a day early. Been a long day of flying, but it's going to be worth it. I mean, Glasgow, this show sold out in less than a day. Unlike those London fans, which are taking forever. But it's going to be a great night, I think.
I think the one question that everybody wants to know, Mick, are we going to see you back in the ring?
Well, I was back in the ring for the Rumble. Doesn't that count? I don't know. The Rumble is probably, that was a good way to use a guy of my limited capabilities. So I don't know if I want to be exposed, naked for the world to see in a venue like WrestleMania. I don't think any of us want to see that.
And finally, Mick, do you have any messages for your good friend, Mr. Apter, back over in Philadelphia?
Good. No, Bill Apter is he is a good friend. He did videotape my wedding. He did used to call. I used to call on him to help my kids go to sleep with his Cookie Monster imitation. Very soothing, yeah. And make sure Bill does Cookie Monster for you. And just say, keep doing what you're doing, Bill Apter.
Excellent, Mick. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So, Mick Foley, now a comedy star, going all over the world. I'm telling you.
Oh,
I always wondered about wrestling humor. Like, would years and years ago when I thought of people doing wrestling humor, what do you say? Like, one day Abdullah the Butcher was sitting on the stoop and these 2 guys passed him by and he pulled out a knife and cut their foreheads and they bled and he walked away. You know what? The wrestling humor, right?
yeah.
So I understand that.
Mick's done well in the UK on his stand-up tours, So.
Yeah. He's a funny human being. He's a great guy. Now I understand. Talking about great guys, one of my favorite people who lives 1.5 miles away from me, but I never see him unless I'm in Europe or Japan or somewhere, and that is the king of old school. Steve Corino, you've got some news regarding Koos, as I call him.
Yeah, the king of old school is returning to the UK bill in March.
Yeah.
2 promotions have got together to bring him over to the UK again. WAW, based out of Norwich, which is a very when you look at wrestling in the UK, you look at Brian Dixon as the man that's been around forever.
Yeah.
But as in
longer
wrestling
than forever, actually.
Yeah, that's the thing, But
no offense, Brian. You know I love you. In a guy
I'll
way.
pass on your love, yeah. When you talk of wrestling families, in people talk about your Harts, your Von Erichs. But in England, there's a wrestling dynasty. There is a wrestling family, and they are the Knights. You've got Rowdy Ricky Knight. You've got Sweet Saraya, his wife. Their two sons, Roy, the Zebra Kid, and Zach.
By the way, to translate that for you fans here in America, the Zebra Kid. But go ahead.
Zebra Kid, yeah. And their daughter, who is now known, who is signed for WWE as Paige in FCW.
Oh, right.
So it's a very good pedigree. And again, and the wrestling school, they have a wrestling school. And it's really good. You know, people come out of that wrestling school. It's just an all-round, you know, you think of British wrestling, you think of wrestling families, it's a night. So WAW are bringing over Steve Corino. And the dates I've got, there's quite a few actually. There's the 22nd, 23rd
of March.
20th of March, yeah, right. 24th. The 22nd of March, I'm trying to think of these off the top of my head, is the Blackfriars Theatre in Boston, in Lincolnshire. That's on the 22nd.
Okay.
The 23rd of March, they're at the Project in Norwich, which is obviously the Knight's hometown.
Which is the Project here, but go ahead.
Yeah, the Project, or the Project. Go ahead. But yeah, the lineup for that is obviously Steve Corino, the King of Old School. He's going to be there. Mercedes Martinez.
Yes.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
She's coming over to the UK as well.
Okay.
Also, you've got Danny Boy Collins. Now, Danny Boy Collins is one of the top names in
familiar with his name, very familiar.
Yeah, Danny Boy Collins. You know, his matches with Finlay. They did chain matches. They wrestled all over the place, you know. But Danny is, and he's still in magnificent shape because even though he's been around that long, he's still early 40s.
He takes good care of himself. He really
does, and he's still in great shape.
I saw him on some of my earlier trips to the United Kingdom. Great guy.
Yeah. So you've got all those guys, as I say, 22nd, 23rd. On the 24th is going to be a women's show. That's going to be the WAWW show. WAWW ladies show. And that's got the Sweet Saraya. That's got Mercedes Martin. Oh, do you know what? I'm not having a good time, Bill. There you go. But basically, on the 24th, girls from all over the globe, basically. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be at the Project as well. But I will check that. 25th of March.
Yes.
HEW, which is Hearts and Essex Wrestling.
Right away.
Yeah, all right. which I'm the MC for, the Master of Ceremonies.
Right.
They're playing at the Harlow Greyhound Stadium. Okay. And again, Steve Corino will be there. Mercedes will be there. And a full stacked card.
Okay.
So if you go onto the WAW website, the information's all there.
Go to the WAW website, find out what the initials stand for, who will be there. We're great that Steve Corino, who's a good friend of, he did one of the first face-to-face interviews here, and we're glad you fans are going to go out and support him. Sir Lynskey, I'm getting buzzed here that another one of our correspondents is waiting to come on here.
Do you know what? I just got a message too. That's from Scott.
Scott Bell.
Scott Bell.
Platinum Scott Bell.
He's like, please, mate, can you give me a call?
All right. I like that. That was kind of like country western Australian. We're going to, hang on. Okay. I got it, Scott. We're going to travel right now to go to Australia, and then we'll be back to talk about our next edition right here with Lynskey. And I don't know, again, Nigel wants to know what this Sir stuff is here. We'll be right back. Let's go to Australia. Face to face, we have traveled. Scott Bell from Australia. Welcome back to Face to Face. Wait a minute, pick that cup up again. That drinking cup. Oh, look at that.
Triple H. That's my Triple H coffee cup.
So wait a minute. I've got an issue with you now. On our last installment, we were talking about who you'd pick to win at WrestleMania. Triple H or The Undertaker in the Elimination Chamber match. You picked The Undertaker. You're drinking from the enemy here.
I am, but I'm sticking with the hairstyle. So
Yeah. Well, it looks good on you. So first of all, you weren't with us last time because your dad was ill. He was in the hospital. Is he back home?
he is back home. He's been home a couple of days now and lied up in bed and doing well. He's fine.
That's great. How young is he?
He is 76, not out.
Wow.
So yeah, no, he's doing all right. He's fine.
Well, the global fans all over watching this on FACE-2-FACE on OneWrestling.com want to say, what's your dad's first name?
John.
John. We're all thinking about you. Get well soon. We're glad you're home. Okay, so we want to check out what is going on in Australia, down under, so to say.
Exactly.
And, what's going on
Well,
there?
first of all, I want to go to the US actually and talk about a Ring of Honor tournament that's just been held for Rise and Prove. It was a Ring of Honor tag tournament.
Yes.
We had two boys from Perth over there representing us, Shane Haste and Mike Nichols.
Oh,
they won the tournament and are now going to be basically facing the Briscoe brothers at some stage in April in Florida for the tag team titles, the Ring of Honor tag team titles. So well done to Shane Haste and Mike Nichols on that.
And what do you think? I know you're Australian there, but do you think that they can battle the Have they been together as long as the Briscoes?
I don't think they've been together as long as the Briscoes, but they've been trained well both in Australia and in the US, okay. And they've got some good sort of lineage behind them, and I think they're going to do pretty well.
So if they win the belts, hopefully you can get them. Hopefully you can get them in the Bell building there and get them on camera so we can interview them with you.
Well, if we can get them back to Australia, that is. I mean, they could end up staying there if they win the belts. I mean, it might be a while.
Well, then I'll get them for you.
Exactly.
I'll get them for
you can get them in the Apter household, yes. And I can talk to them there.
You got it. What else is going on there? The Buzz, the Skinny, everything going on there in Australia?
Alrighty, we got Prowl Wrestling in Queensland. They had a show on the 18th of February. It was their first show back for the year. They had a great show. The main event was a three-way between Mark Davis, Robbie Eagles, and Smashface Mitch McCarthy. That was won by Mark Davis.
Okay.
We also had a tag team, the end of a tag team sort of tournament, where at the first ever Proud Tag Team Champions were named. The Farah brothers defeated the Showgunners.
Oh, so they're the first Prowl Tag Team Champions?
They are indeed, okay. And the owner.
Who is on the prowl for them right now? Who's the number one contenders?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it could be it could be the Showgunners once again. Okay. I've sort of got to find out about that. There's just been a whole heap of new factions and teams formed up there at Prowl.
They're going to have their hands full.
Oh yeah, they sure are. The owner of Prowl. Greg Prowse has actually turned and basically formed his own faction within the company as well, basically saying that he wants to take Queensland wrestling to a new level. He sort of thinks that it hasn't been operating at the level that it should, and he seems to think that him and his faction are going to be able to do that. So good luck.
We will. You'll keep us in touch with that.
Exactly. Now I'm going to quickly preview a couple of up-and-coming shows.
Yeah.
The first one we've got here is Rock and Wrestling.
Bring that down just a little bit. Now we can see it. Rock and Wrestling. Look at you got a bear against a gorilla?
Pretty much so. That's what it looks like.
Against King Huss. Wow.
Yes.
Frightening.
That's Crackerjack versus King Huss there. That is going to be on the...
It looks like a very...
It's the 31st of March.
Okay.
Now, you've also got a three-way between Dowie James, Trey, and Carlo Cannon. Carlo Cannon's actually done quite well, sort of... he trained with Lance Storm. Okay. You've got a women's match between KC Cassidy and Nikita Niridin. a tag match between Hardway Inc., Mike Bird, Jay Andrews versus the Enforcer and Ryan Rollins.
All right. Well, we will look forward to coverage and results from you of that show.
Exactly. Not a problem. Now, also, this coming Saturday night at PCW, you have...
bring that down just a little bit. PCW being...
Professional Championship Wrestling.
Okay.
Now, they have their big show this weekend. They have Adam Pearce, Orlando
the National
Jordan.
Wrestling Alliance heavyweight champion of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's going to be defending it on that show. The following day in Sydney, Adam Pearce is going to be appearing in Sydney, wrestling a guy by the name of TNT Greg Bounds. He's a very well-known Australian wrestler, and that should also be a great show as well.
So let me ask you a question, Scott, because you're a student of the game here. Adam Pearce, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, one of the things that goes against the champion is that he has to make these trips from the United States, and it takes 1 million hours to get to Australia from the United States, so to say. I think that lessens his chances of retaining the title. So the fans in Australia could see an NWA World Heavyweight title change.
They could very well, actually. Adam's got, I think, 4 or 5 matches planned while he's here in Australia over a 2 to 3 week period.
There's no time to
No,
rest.
not really. And it's in various states. So, I mean, like, he's got a lot of movement sort of like over that period of time. It's going to slow him down. It's going to tire him out. And, I mean, good luck to the guy. I hope he's able to do it.
We got to get him on here one time to discuss the World Heavyweight Championship and the toll that it's taken on some of the great NWA champions through the years.
Well, I'm hoping to get a picture with Adam in the title because...
Well, you go over to him and you let him know that you work here for Face to Face. Adam and I have known each other forever, and maybe actually, if you have a video camera, you can do a bit of an interview with him as well.
I will do, actually.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well, actually, I've already had the promoter, a friend of mine, basically say that he'll be organising that for us anyway.
Well, that's great. That's great. All right.
So we'll have that done as well. Now, also on the 23rd and the 24th of March over in Perth, Battle of Honour. You have Necro Butcher.
Oh, yes, the crazed Necro Butcher.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a crazy weekend over there. That's 2 nights of wrestling.
Against Homicide?
Sorry?
Against Homicide?
Yep, versus Homicide.
Wow. Well, you definitely, if you're going to those, you got to do some interviews with those guys for us.
I won't be going over to that one. That's on the other side of the country, unfortunately.
Well, maybe we can get a correspondent over there to do that.
We will, and I'll also have footage from the show. The guy who runs the show has promised me he's going to put together a highlight package for me this time as well.
Fantastic.
Now, I also wanted to mention one other show quickly.
Go ahead.
RCW over in Adelaide are going to be running 2 shows during the Adelaide Fringe Festival on the 16th and 17th of March. They're bringing in guys from all over the country to basically be involved in that show. It's called Mega Slam.
All right.
And that's at the Adelaide Fringe Festival.
Right. Well,
so,
we'll discuss most of those mid-March shows on our next segment, of course, in detail.
Excellent.
All right.
No problem.
Maybe you can talk to 1 or 2 of the wrestlers on those cards and to Skyping in with us here.
Yep, exactly. Can definitely do that as well. 2 more things I'd like to mention.
Yes, Scott.
If anybody in Australia would like to go to www.wrestlehustle.com and also australianwrestling.org, they're 2 websites that basically handle a lot of information about Australian wrestling as far as rosters, events and everything else. And basically, if anybody wants to find out any information about them as well, and they can also go to platinumprowrestling.com and find out any news reviews that we've got up on there.
Okay, and of course,
Excellent.
Also check us out face to face on onewrestling.com. Scott Bell, we're about out of time. We got to get our airline tickets here and travel.
Not a problem, sir. I appreciate it.
All right.
G'day to Sir Lynskey.
And I will do that. I will do that. We'll see you at the matches. Time to travel. Okay, thank you, Platinum Scott Bell. It's good to hear that his dad is feeling much better.
Yeah, that's a relief.
He was going to bring him on camera to show us his surgery scars, but I figured maybe not this week.
Really?
Maybe another week. What do you think?
You know, gives him something to talk about, right?
Okay. Well, we may do that. Fans, write in if you want to see Scott Bell's dad's surgery scars to Bill Apter at onewrestling.com. If enough of you do that, we're going to have to get him on the show to show the scars. Okay?
Okay.
You think? It's a heck of a contest here. Anyway, Sir Lynskey, we've been all over the place. We saw Mick Foley. We saw a great Nigel McGuinness talk from the heart, and he'll be back thanks to you on our next version here. We'll have the Maximos on to talk further about the proposed match with Fleisch and Storm. We'll talk more about WrestleMania and what date the 16 karat tournament in Germany is, depending upon when we run this.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th of March.
So we will be
now.
This will be on. You'll be there as this is showing.
I'm going out there. I'm going out there on Saturday.
Or you've been there already if this doesn't air till Sunday. So hope you had a good time. But I understand you're going to try and hook up with Mr. Matthias, our correspondent from Germany, and get some comments and some videos, and you'll come back with the full 16 karat report.
What I'll also probably do as well is I'll try and get some of the guys to say a few words.
Oh, yeah,
there's some heavy laden talent on that show.
So wait, I'm going to put you on the spot before we leave. Who's going to be the winner of the 16 karat? You know the whole field of contestants. You saw Mr. Matthias in the past 2 weeks go through them. Finley?
I want to root for one of my own guys. You got Douglas Williams out there. There's Marty
but
Scurll.
Who do you pick? Let's take all countries aside. Look at it as from a fan's perspective, a sporting point of view.
I honestly would go for Johnny Moss.
Okay. Honestly, he's not lying. So we'll see who wins 16 karat. Sir Lynskey, it's been an absolute pleasure being here with you once again on Face to Face. We look forward to you every week here. You are the best co-host I could ever have asked for.
Well, thank you, Bill. So are you.
Well, cut it out. Mutual Admiration Society. But the best thing about all of this is you, the fans that are watching this all over the world, globally. Thank you so much, and we'll see you, say it, Sir Lynskey,
at the matches.
I love it.